Let us talk about the wealth gap, specifically the Black wealth gap, but stay woke. This will definitely impact every single body, but it really affects our communities a lot. As I look around our communities, I tend to see a lot of liquor stores, a lot of nail salons, a lot of Chinese food places, basically a lot of things that don't necessarily belong to us. I see a lot of gentrification, which has really been encouraged by financialization of the world, but that is a whole different video. So I want to get into the Black wealth gap. I want to explain what that means, explain why it's been widening, and how we can take steps to actually improve our communities. So please be sure to stick around for all that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. All right, welcome and welcome back. I am here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason, they forgot to mention it. If you love all things personal finance, investing, and economics, you'll definitely want to subscribe. You'll definitely want to hit that bell. It is free. Please do it. I'll wait. Thank you. Let's get into it. All right. There is clearly a huge disparity between whites and blacks. I don't want to discuss slavery because I feel like we cover that enough. I want to give kind of different perspectives and what I just kind of see from the inside looking inner, right? Of these communities, of our communities, and how we can actually improve them. And the crazy thing about this is that I actually recorded, edited a video last year when my channel wasn't really that popular. I probably had like maybe 200 subscribers. And I was actually afraid to post this, and I didn't post it. And I don't know why. It's kind of crazy, but you know, I have the confidence to post it and talk about it now. I think I didn't want to lose subscribers, which is I don't know. I literally am at a loss for words of myself. But anyways, let me talk about what I think personally contributes to our societies and the downfalls. First, we have a pretty fragmented community. Of course, we have had a rougher time and we've kind of started, way in the back and trying to reach forward. Right? But there's certain things that we just can't change, right? Slavery, we just cannot change that. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and we have to kind of move forward. But we still have certain things that have impacted us, okay? A lot of things that actually divide us as a people. For some reason, we have when I say we, I'm not talking about everybody. It's just kind of generalizations. Some people tend to have a crabs in the bucket mentality where they don't want to see you doing better, okay? They don't want you to get out. They want to be the ones that are on top of things. And this is not only unique to Black people. There are people all over the world, no matter where they come from, who just don't want to see you doing better than them. And that's sad. We don't put people on game enough, okay? We let people sit around in the dark. This is actually really interesting. The other day I was in Georgia and I went to this little get together at my friend's house. And the guy was talking to my friend about, about money or something. And the question came up, how much money you make. And for context, he was a white guy and my friend is a Black woman, okay? Before she could even really answer, another one of our friends who was also a minority was like, you can't ask that kind of question around here. Like, we don't do that. And I thought it was very interesting because when he said that, the guy who asked the question, like how much money you make, he just kind of was confused, why can't I ask that? And I think that is a huge problem that we have. Like, we think money is taboo. We think that if we tell people how much money we make, they're either going to judge us, count our pockets, or ask us for money, right? If we make a certain money, they're, oh, okay, she got it. All right. All of a sudden, they become your best friend because they want money from you. And those things do happen. It's something that I definitely deal with because I'm pretty transparent about, the money that I make. I've talked about it on my channel plenty of times. And it's hard, because I do make six figures. It is hard dealing with people always asking you for something or always needing something out of nowhere. But I want to be transparent because you need to know what money there is to be made out here, A lot of times we don't have a lot of access to that information. And if you knew how much money certain industries made or how much money people made in their own businesses, that could actually encourage you and it could influence you to actually make steps towards that, right? So if people weren't on YouTube saying how much of a lucrative business it could be, maybe I wouldn't have started, because obviously I'm here to help and I love giving this information out, but it was so nice and motivating to see how much money could be made if I just kept going and if I kept applying myself. But in our community, sometimes I don't see that. I'm sorry, I don't really see it as much. I think the generation below us, they're getting so much more better at being transparent and showing you literally everything that they do. But in my generation as a millennial, we didn't really get to see much of that. Another thing is that we don't have a lot of resources. Now, when I was younger, I went to a PWI, which is predominantly white institution. What does that mean, PWI? I went to a predominantly white college. Went to FSU, but right across the tracks was FAMU, okay? I was an accounting major. And the big four, if you don't know much about accounting, there are four really huge accounting kind of companies. I'm like drawing a blank right now. But yeah, they're called the big four. You basically, if you want to be a CPA, you damn near have to be a part of one of these companies, because a lot of different places require that you have some big four experience, okay? So it's a pretty big deal. You absolutely want to get into one of these companies. Okay, cool. I happened to be at FSU, so I was able to go to the career fair and a whole bunch of different things that they had all the time. Like, those big four companies always had events at my school, okay? They were always there. They were always recruiting. They did not go to FAMU. And that was a predominantly black school, right? That was an HBCU. They didn't go there at all. Why not? You're saying you want diversity and you want inclusion, but you're not going to the black school. I don't get that, right? So we need to have more, I guess, black faces in higher places. People who could say, listen, there's good talent right over there. They have a whole business school at FAMU, okay? There are extremely intelligent people. They shouldn't have to try to figure out how to come to a different university just to get the same job that I got, because I just happen to be at this predominantly white institution, right? Make it make sense. And like I alluded to in the beginning of the video, our communities are not structured for success. I can drive down predominantly black neighborhoods and there will be liquor stores everywhere, okay? Liquor stores, nail salon, chicken spots. I mean, you won't see a lot of like healthy options, a lot of vegan options. You won't see a lot of libraries. They'll definitely have them, don't get me wrong. But to the extent that they have liquor stores, it literally makes no sense. If you're getting drunk all day because the liquor store is right there and you have easy access to it, how are you going to get ahead? Our community is constantly infiltrated by other people. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have liquor stores, because I like to drink, okay? But what I am saying is that it's other people coming into the community. They couldn't really give a damn less about us, honestly. They take it right back to their own communities because their communities are tight. Okay. And I almost paused when I want to talk about this because I'm not really so familiar, but from what I see as the outside looking in on the Jewish community, they seem to be very, very, very tight knit. You can't just walk into a Jewish neighborhood and start your own business. They're not going to support you. Okay. They're very tight knit. They teach their own kids. They have synagogues in their own communities. I mean, they roll deep. Okay. I'm not saying that I know everything about them, so I'm only speaking from a very, very, very limited, scope of experience. I don't want to offend anybody. But from the outside looking in, you can't do that kind of stuff in their communities, okay? Because they're not going to allow it. Unfortunately, we seem to be a little more tolerant of that, and we don't let the black dollar circulate enough around our community. I actually remember doing research for like the other video that I was making, and it said something like money stays in the black community for a total of 6 hours, okay? So basically, the minute that you get paid, you're going to go ahead and get that money to a different community within 6 hours, okay? Within the same day. The money cannot even last in our communities for a day, not even half a day. And that is largely in part to us not having enough support, right? We don't really uplift each other. We don't really show each other what to do. Again, super general. I want to stress this because I do not want to come off as like I'm speaking down or something, but this is just the facts, okay? I can rarely walk around a black neighborhood and find a lot of black businesses. Normally, mostly Asians in there or other people, okay? Another thing is an over-dependence on the government. And I kind of get a lot of heat for this because I talk about this a lot on my channel, kind of saying that I don't believe that we should be dependent on the government. Some people have the belief that, no, the government should be taking care of us. We should be getting more stimulus checks. We should be getting all this free stuff because it's our money. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that belief. However, I don't think it is conducive to a strong economy and strong communities, right? When you're just sitting there waiting for a handout, that's not good. It's literally not good. You're waiting for food stamps. You're waiting for Section 8 to come pay your rent for you, but you're not putting anything into the community. What are you producing? Okay, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have these programs. I do think that it's super helpful. When I was in college, I had food stamps and I absolutely loved it, okay? I needed it because I didn't have parents that could just send me money. I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth, okay? So I needed it. I really did. But eventually I kind of stood on my 2 feet. But not everybody feels that way. Some people will just kind of sit around and just chill on government aid, and that doesn't actually produce or give anything back to our community. It's just kind of sitting around waiting for a check. And that over-dependence is very dangerous, because just in life in general, when you're overly dependent on somebody, they control your livelihood. They can give and take as they please. They can just give you scraps. But if you go out there and get it on your own, well, then you are the one who's kind of controlling how much you're going to be getting, okay? So over-dependence is super toxic. All right, so what can we do, right? Because I don't like talking about the problems without coming up with solutions. I have a couple of suggestions, but I'm going to start off with communication. We need to be more transparent with each other. This is not only for Black people. This is honestly for everybody, because in my opinion, and I hope I don't get like a lot of heat for this, but in my opinion, we're all the same. I don't necessarily think anybody is greater than anybody. I do think we're all in the same group as far as the government is kind of against the people, and we need to be more united as a people versus as certain races, okay? But specifically for Black people, we do need to be more open and talking to our kids in a way that makes sense, okay? Stop telling your kids, I'm not your little friends. I used to hear that all the time. I'm not your little friend. Don't talk to me like that, whatever. And my whole thing is, we don't have communications classes in school required as like how reading and science is required, right? Communication is only afforded to those who actually can afford to pay for therapists to help them navigate through their feelings. We do not have that. So as a parent, you are on the front line when it comes to communicating with your kid and teaching them what communication is, okay? That sounds like nothing related to like the wealth gap, but it does have a lot to do with the wealth gap, because when you are communicating properly, you're more receptive, you're more able to learn things, you're able to listen, and then from there you can make better decisions. So don't shut your kids out. Let them talk to you. Let them establish good communication skills so that when they get out there and someone's trying to tell them something, they don't think they have everything all figured out in the world and they don't want to listen to you, okay? Stop associating screaming with anger. Anger is an emotion, screaming is an action, right? You can be angry and still talk composed. Those type of things allow you to function in a world, especially in a finance world, or even when you're making your own business. You need to learn how to communicate with your customers, okay? So if you learn anytime someone gets you upset, you scream at them, that is not going to work in your business, okay? You're going to lose customers. So we have to start with communication, because that is really the core of anything when it comes to making money. You need to learn how to sell yourself and communicate properly. You need to learn how to sell your business and communicate properly with your customers to retain those customers. So communication is super important. It's not required in schools to learn how to navigate through your emotions, how to speak effectively, how to speak clearly, how to listen, because listening is so important. So we at the front lines have to be the ones actually showing our kids that. Education. Unfortunately, in these lower income areas, which are mostly dominated by minorities, you're not going to get the best education, right? Because a lot of people don't want to teach at these schools, unfortunately. Okay. In this day and age, there are libraries around. The libraries are free, and a lot of times libraries have computers, especially right now. So there's very little excuses for not going out there and getting educated, okay? For not going out there and learning on YouTube or getting books from the library for free. There is a wealth of free information to get educated. I know a lot of people come from harder backgrounds, so it kind of seems impossible, but nothing is impossible. There have been countless stories of people who have made it from the mud, people who have been homeless and they have climbed through the mud, okay? And they have made it successful. So that means it is literally possible, because if there's at least one story of somebody who did it, then that means it is possible. But we have to apply ourselves. It could be something for as little as 10 minutes a day. You're going to go learn something new about money, and you'll do it with your child, or you do it by yourself, okay? So go get yourself educated on how money works. Get yourself educated on what skills I can look into to kind of increase my earnings. Like, how can I be a bigger player in my field, in my niche? These things, there's a wealth of free information. Of course, if you pay for information, you should anyway get even better insight, but the free stuff is how you get started. That's how I started my YouTube channel, okay? I was trying to figure out, how can I grow on YouTube? How can I get found on YouTube? Because there's so much content being posted, but I researched it for free before I paid for anything, okay? So definitely use your free resources to your advantage, because they are plentiful right now. We need to be more independent thinkers, okay? That whole rhetoric of going to school, getting a good job, it does work still. but there's other ways to make money out here, and we need to keep up with the times. We can't be stuck on stupid or looking for acceptance or we need to make our own. Like, make your own space when you don't see any space for you. I don't think we do that enough. I think we just want to fit into these boxes that are created. Like, oh, well, I want to be a part of this predominantly white thing. No, make your own thing, okay? If they're not going to accept you, then just go on your own. We also need to shift our image of success. And I'm so guilty of this too. Like, I still struggle with this, but if I see someone with a nice car, I'm like, oh, they got a nice car. But that does not mean that they have money, okay? I can go out there and get me a Mercedes right now. That doesn't mean I can afford it, right? Like, success to me is not what you have material wise, right? It can take on so many different forms, but I think the materialistic success is so touted in our faces all the time that we really think, okay, if I have a Mercedes, if I have name brand shoes, like, I'm gonna feel good, I'm gonna feel rich. When in actuality, riches comes from having that kind of self-discipline to say, you know what, I'm not going to spend this money because I'm going to actually invest it. And then once I make my own business, that business is going to pay for any Mercedes, any new shoes that I want to. Like, that to me is successful because you really earned it, because you've worked hard for it, not because you kind of got by, you took it out of your savings just so you can say you're popping in a new, with your new Louboutins. Like, that ain't it to me, chief. We have to define success as learning how to make money work for us instead of us working for money. I'm tired of exchanging my time for my money. I want my money to grow exponentially and be scalable. That means not having to necessarily work every single day. With YouTube is a perfect example. I post a video, I am done, okay? That video could be picked up 2 months from now and make me thousands of dollars. That literally has happened to me before, okay? That's scalable. I don't have to do anything. And as my business grows and as I reach more people, I can put the same 10 hours a week in and get even more money out, okay? And that's the kind of thing, to me, is what I define as success. Also, being in debt is a no-no, right? I don't want to have a whole bunch of nice things but be stuck in debt. This is a debt-based system, and I actually talked about in great detail about what I mean by that. So definitely feel free to check this video out up here because I go into detail about the debt-based system. But we don't want to be in debt because that is the chain that will keep you down, okay? You think slavery is dead? It just taken on a different form, okay? Now it's like institutionalized racism. Now it's being stuck in debt. Like, everybody's a debt slave at this point. I'm sorry. And we don't want to be in that predicament. So we want to kind of shift success to meaning debt-free. Even if I have a busted car, even if I don't have the nicest clothes, like, but I'm just free of debt. To me, that is super successful, and that's true wealth. Our own businesses. We cannot talk down about our businesses anymore. Even if the customer service is bad, make friendly suggestions for improvement. Don't just stop patronizing something altogether. Like, of course, there are certain businesses that you just cannot, right? You have to move on from them. But try to support them in the best way that you can, even if it means you're going to be paying more. Yes, small businesses, you will be paying more because you don't have the kind of economies of scale that these larger businesses have, unfortunately. But if you really want to support a cause, then you have to pay that extra money. You just have to until these companies get big, just like the other big dogs, right? And they can actually demand better prices from their suppliers. But until that happens, we need to pour into these companies. We need to make our own companies. Whether or not they're the best, just get started. It took me 11 months before I made a single dollar on YouTube. Now I'm pulling in over $1,000 every single month. But that takes a lot of work, right? And you guys supported me, and I thank you so much for that. And because of the support, I am able to come on here and tell you guys it's possible and we got to do it together. There are people who, personal trainers, maybe they started training 1 or 2 people at a free park and now they have their own business and it's growing, okay? There's people who maybe braided hair on the weekends and now they're able to actually make real money from that, okay? So there's money to be made out here. We have to support each other and really come to people's businesses ready to support, even if it means spending a little bit more. And as a business owner, you have to provide quality services, quality goods, so you can retain your customers. But I think I got everything. Let me know if I missed anything or if you guys have any disagreements with what I said. Definitely let me know in the comments because I want to hear from you guys. But that will do it. If you like this video, then please be sure to like this video and share it with your friends so they can all get some insight on, my opinions about Black wealth in America and the wealth gap. And if you have nothing else going on, you know what to do. Go ahead and binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.